So welcome everybody. I'm so glad to have you here today at this webinar, and we're going to call Tap Away Your Debt. So debt's such a big issue for so many people, and I really want to help people to cope with their debt and to eliminate their debt. So let's have a look a bit about debt. This is, of course, a famous quote from Albert Einstein. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we use to create them. And I just felt that that quote really applied to our debt, because we need to change our thinking to change how we're going to cope with the debt. So let's just talk a little bit about you for a moment. I know that you're probably an entrepreneur. Hi, Tash. Welcome to the group. So I know you're an entrepreneur because that's the groups that I'm advertising in. And your goal and your dream is to make tons of income and to have a fantastic, wonderful business that can help lots of people. But maybe your income's not as much as you'd like, and you're feeling very frustrated and probably got some debt that's going along with it. And you're feeling like, if I could just make more money, then I could solve my debt problems. But it's just not happening. And so you're feeling this level of frustration. So about me. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur most of my life. I've always been self-employed. And I'm now working in this field of EFT and money mindset. But I've done many other businesses along the line. And when I was a number of years ago now, we're talking 25 years ago, I was a single mum with 6 kids. So that little bunch of people up there, so 6 of those and minus the little 2. When I was a single mum, I was only earned part-time income, had the child support from my ex-husband, and money wasn't tight. I wasn't like on the streets, but I didn't have any spare money. And in some ways that actually makes it, in some ways it's easier to manage money when you've got just the right amount. You've got enough to pay all your bills, but no extra. And so I was living a comfortable lifestyle. And then I got married to that handsome guy there in the climbing suit. And we ended up having 2 more children. And we developed some fantastic businesses, some absolutely brilliant businesses. And we made lots of money. So the 2 houses there on the left are 2 of our 10 investment houses that we've got. And we were making some really good money as property developers and as property managers. But what we both did was live beyond our means. So we thought, we've got all this money, we can buy this and we can buy that, and we can travel and we can do all sorts of things. All of the children went to private schools, and we were living beyond our means. And we bought things on the credit cards, both personal stuff and business stuff. And we managed to rack up a debt of $60,000 on top of car loans and house loans. And it was like, whoa, that's a bit of debt. But we weren't particularly worried because we were managing to pay it off. You know, it's a bit like America and Australia. You can be in debt, but as long as you've got enough income to pay the bill, then you're okay. You sort of can ignore the debt. And then we decided one time we're going to pay it off. So we actually paid off the $60,000. And within a couple of years, we were back in that debt again. And that was frustrating when we realised we added it all up and went, whoa, we're now back at $55,000 in debt, and we'd paid it all off. And that was when I really started to realise that it's all about the mindset. It's not about the money. Both of us have lived quite comfortably in previous lives. It's just somehow when we were together, we both just spent money. So there's a difference here. So today we're going to discuss about the good, the bad and the ugly about debt and how to solve it. Because there is such a thing as good debt. So what is good debt? So this little quote here from Robert Kiyosaki: good debt puts money in your pocket, whether you work or whether you don't. And your bad debt is something that takes money out of your pocket. So that's his way of describing it. So what does that actually mean? Well, good debt is things like investments, where you might have borrowed to buy an investment house, and the rent covers the mortgage plus the expenses. That's a good debt. It means that you're covered. A bad debt, credit card debt. It's just taking money from your pocket. Now, Kiyosaki also puts your own home in the bad debt column. I think that's a little tough, but under his definition there, it's taking money out of your pocket and not putting it in. So under his definition, even your own home becomes a bad debt. So the goal, of course, is to pay off all our bad debts as fast as we can, because they're just taking money out of our pocket. So does that make sense? Does everybody understand there's a difference between a good debt and a bad debt? And what we're really going to talk today about is the bad debt. So the credit card debt, the car debt, any shop loans, any of those sorts of loans. I'm going to leave the house alone because I think that, it's a place to live. You've got to live somewhere. So wherever you live, you're going to be paying money. But it is in the list of things to pay off one day. So what are your money beliefs? So what do you believe about money? So as I was describing my story of how badly in debt we got, part of my money belief was money was easy come, easy go. So you can see how with that belief, you've got tons of money coming in. It's all coming in quite easily. We had really good businesses that were highly successful. The money's easy to come by. So you don't think about it as you spend it. You just spend it because, there's more coming. So it's a money belief that money's easy come, easy go. My husband, on the other hand, has this one. You have to work hard to make money. But it also works that, if you want more money, well, just work a bit harder. If you want even more money, work a bit harder. And I think that was where it finally started to unravel, whereas he said, hang on, I can't keep working this hard. And especially as he started thinking, I want to retire, and looking at our finances, and you realise that the belief of you have to work hard to make money, and if you want more, just work harder, isn't going to work. So what about you? What are your beliefs about money? So have you got these ones like, I'm no good with money, I can't manage money? Or maybe someone else manages the money for you and you don't even have to look at it. Sometimes when the debt gets large, and you can imagine with a $60,000 loan, $60,000 debt, you go, I've got no hope of paying this off. How on earth am I ever going to pay off that much money? If your debt's sort of equaling your yearly income or something, it was like, I can't do this. And then there's the shame that goes with the debt. What would people think of me if they knew? And you'll see many rich people, we think of the movie stars or, famous musicians who have gone bankrupt. And that's where they're coming from. They've got this wonderful income coming in, this wonderful business. And they spend up to what they think people will expect of them. So they'll buy their mansions in Hollywood. They'll buy 6 cars. But they're not putting the money away, and they're living on the debt. And so they're saying, well, what would people think if they knew I didn't have this much money? I'm famous, I must be rich. Or maybe you've got this one of like, I'm just hopeless with money. I can't do anything. I'll never be able to solve this money problem. I can't do the bookkeeping. I don't know what to do. So are any of those like what you're thinking? Put in some of your money beliefs. Does any of those ring a bell for you? So all of us have got beliefs about money, because it's a matter of are they helping us or hindering us? So money is easy to come by is a good belief, but not if you put the easy go as well. So we've got Tush here saying, I'm not responsible enough with money. I can't be trusted. And that, I love that one of we're spenders, not savers. So it fits under that same, easy go. And Alyssa's saying, you have to spend money to make money. Yeah, I love that one. Because, like, how are you ever going to get rich if you haven't got any money? And so that whole belief that you've got to have a large sum of money even to start. So what's the point? Can't start. And the time is money. It comes under that same, you have to work hard to make money. It's that belief system that you're going to, your time is equal to your money. So the more time you put in, the more money you can make. I love that one of money doesn't grow on trees. It's one of those statements that I certainly grew up with that one, and I imagine most of us did. And it's like, money doesn't grow on trees. What does that really mean? And what everybody, of course, means by that is, there's not money just floating around in the thin air. But again, it's just a belief system because, well, as we know, you can actually make money out of trees. Money does grow on trees. Money does come easily when you've got the belief system. But if you have a belief system that says money's hard to come by, which is what the money doesn't grow on trees means, then it won't. It'll be hard to come by. And Lisa's saying, if I don't have a savings account because you need money to stay in there. Oh, yes, the savings account. I'll actually probably do another webinar coming up soon about savings because savings is another whole kettle. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because we think, well, I've only got this much money to live on. How can I save? But savings is actually the other way around. You actually put it out first and you'll be surprised how there's enough money to live on. I like that one. If I make more money, someone else misses out. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's that belief that there's only a certain amount of money to go round. And it's in one hand and out the other. Alyssa is the same. Yeah, it's that one of the easy come, easy go. Or, yeah, there's only so much money. So they're fantastic beliefs, everybody, because that's exactly what we're talking about. All of these beliefs are sitting there in our subconscious running our lives. So let's have a look at what happens. So these are the thoughts. These thoughts are running in our subconscious mind. They're the words we say. So the money doesn't grow on trees. Parents have said that to us. Everything I make goes straight to paying bills. So they're the words and the thoughts that you're saying. And of course, so they become the actions. That's the money comes, the money goes. And they become our habits. It's the way that we run our lives. So, I'll save money if I've got some left over, and we don't have any left over. And that becomes our character. So that's who we are. We're people who spend right to the very last dollar and the last 2 days of the fortnight or the month, there's no more money left. And so it becomes our destiny. That's the way our life happens. We don't have any savings. We don't do any investments because we think that that's the way it's going to be. We end up getting into debt because we spend more than we earn. So it's interesting, isn't it? These thoughts that we've got, the things that we're saying here, might only be thoughts, but they actually determine your destiny. So what happens when you're in debt? What's going to happen? Believe it or not, the money is actually a very small part of the issue. And you'd think, no, that is the issue, Kay. What are you talking about? But it's actually about the brain. It's about what's happening inside our brain that's actually affecting how we're managing the debt. So when you're in debt, you know the stress, you know the feeling of panic, you know the worry and the fears that are going with it. And this is a little picture of our mind here. So our conscious mind is the one that's thinking, how am I going to pay these bills? How am I going to pay this off? I've got this big debt, what am I going to do? And that's our rational mind, our thinking mind. You know, we sit down and we do our budgets and we think, I haven't got enough money. But the subconscious mind, which actually makes up about 90% of our thoughts, that's where our emotions are sitting. So the fear, the worry, the stress. It's also where these thoughts that we were talking about before, those beliefs, that's where they sit. The money doesn't grow on trees. The money comes, the money goes. There's no way I can save. They're all sitting here in this subconscious mind. And they're affecting how we see the conscious mind. So they're running the show, even though we don't realise it. And until we change this subconscious mind, until we change those beliefs and those thoughts that are in there, we actually won't be able to change what's happening on the outside. Those thoughts are what's running us. And so if I have that belief of easy come, easy go, that's exactly what happens. I find it quite easy to make money. Money comes, but money disappears. And we sit down every month and go, where did the money go? What happened to it? And it's so frustrating because it's a subconscious belief that runs what happens consciously. There's another, subconscious beliefs like, oh, budgeting's boring, or writing down in things in detail is boring. And as I said, my husband had the one of, like, you have to work hard to make money. Can you imagine what happens if you don't have to work hard and the money still comes? How much that really messes with that subconscious mind. And so you make the money disappear, or you make it hard. Even if it just comes in automatically, you still make it hard, because that's what you've got to do to match that belief system. Now, these thoughts and beliefs were set up quite early in our life. They're not something that we've put in there recently. They were the things we heard from our parents. Our society, Australian society's very much got the belief that you have to work hard to make money, that you have to have money to make money, that savings is hard, that getting rich is hard. It's unfortunately very part of our Australian society. And so unless you grew up in a family that wasn't the way it looked in your family, then you're going to have those beliefs inside your subconscious mind. And this is where the debt comes in as well. So living beyond your means, feeling that you have to have something, feeling that that there's not enough at the end of the month and you'll just take a little bit out of here, is how we end up in debt. So it's time now for us to look at our numbers. Do you know how much debt you have? Do you know how much debt you're in? Or are you one of those people that the bank statements come in and you just throw them in a drawer and try not to look at them? Do you actually know how much bad debt you've got, and also how much good debt you've got? And this is doing your numbers. So the balance sheet, if you're doing your books, you're doing your bookkeeping, if you're doing it in Xero or MyOb, you actually need a balance sheet as well as your profit and loss. And the balance sheet will show you how much debt you've got as well as how much assets you've got. And we talked about the good debt. So we have quite a bit of debt that's classed as good debt in that we invest in real estate property. So we have a large debt, but we also have a large asset base. And we've got about 50% what they call gearing, which means that we owe the bank about 50% of our assets, which is actually a really good position to be in. Whereas you might hear of like 90% gearing, which means that you only own 10% of what you actually own. So it's good to know the numbers. It's good to understand what they mean. It's also really, really, really important to know the numbers for your bad debt. So how much credit card debt do you actually have? What's its interest rates? How much are you paying in interest every month? What I want you to do right now is write those numbers down. And then I want you to look at the numbers and think and feel what you're feeling. So see what you're feeling, see what you're thinking about it. Are you thinking, there's no way I'm going to tell anybody I'm way too guilty that I've got this much debt? Shame and embarrassed. Do you want to hide? Or do you feel like I've got no hope of paying this off? How on earth am I ever going to do that? It's way too scary to look at my numbers. So physically sick. Yeah. It's a physical reaction to this, isn't it? And if you don't know your numbers, then it's probably that you're trying to hide. So in Australia, the number of people that own credit cards, the average debt is $4,400 per card holder. If you were to pay the minimum amount of that, at the current interest rates that most cards are at, it would take you 31 years to pay it off, and you'd have paid $14,900 in interest. They're pretty shocking numbers, aren't they? Because of those number of people with that debt, many would be only paying off the minimum amount. Oh, that's it. So we've got here, yeah. So if Lisa's saying that she looked at her total for credit cards and it showed it would take 80 years to pay it off. It's a bit of a shock, isn't it? And it really is quite scary. So what are we going to do about it? Whoops. There's a wealth seminar I went to a number of years ago about how to get wealthy. And they came up with all sorts of brilliant ideas, and we're talking about how to do it. And there was a particular person in the room that just wasn't getting excited. You can imagine, seminars are fantastic fun and everybody gets excited and we all get, oh, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, we'll do that. And this particular woman was not getting excited. In fact, you could see she was getting more and more depressed. And the person running the seminar asked her what the matter was. And she had this large debt. And she said, what's the point of even thinking about how I'm going to get wealthy when I'm so far in debt? And what was the point? And you could see her physically, you could feel the weight, because that's what debt's like, isn't it? It's like a millstone around your neck. You could feel this weight on her. And she was quite depressed, like, why have I bothered coming to a wealth seminar when I've got all this debt? And do you feel like that about your debt, that's keeping you stuck? And that's one of the issues, like, how are we ever going to get wealthy if we've got this stuck feeling? So we dream of our goals, we put up vision boards, we dream of how much money we're going to make, we do all of this wonderful, positive, vibey stuff. But if the debt feels like you're stuck, if the debt feels like you've got a millstone around your neck, then you can't think straight about how you're ever going to make this money and get wealthy. And so you're going to stay stuck because that's the feeling that you've got. So what happened in this story was that it was a tapping seminar. It was a wealth seminar, but the person did tapping as well. And they tapped with the room because, I'm sure that this lady wasn't the only one with debt, and tapped with the room about debt and the feeling of stuck and the feeling of hopelessness and the feeling of shame and guilt about having that much debt, and the feeling like you're never going to get rich because I'm never even going to be able to pay the debt off, let alone anything else. And as you said earlier, how can we make money if we don't have any money, if we're negative, in fact? And it was absolutely phenomenal to watch, because while we were tapping, you could see the weight lifting. So of course there's no money changing hands here, it's just change in emotion. But when we are feeling stuck and depressed, it's all of those feelings in the subconscious mind, and they're stuck. And when we have a stuck feeling, it's a stress in our body, and a stress stops the blood flowing to the thinking part of our brain. So stress turns off the thinking, because you can imagine if a tiger's chasing you, you don't need a lot of brain power to run or to climb a tree. So the system turns off the thinking. It also turns off digestion and reproduction, just as a side issue. So if you're stressed then and finding digestion's an issue, it's part of the same response. So when you're stressed about something, whether it's debt or whether it's a tiger chasing you, the brain puts all of the energy into the limbs so you can run, so you can outrun, outclimb, outjump the predator. But if the predator's your own debt, running, of course, won't help. But you've still got that same stress response. And it's taken the blood and the thinking power away from your brain. So when we tap away the stress, and it allows the thinking part of our brain to start functioning again. And that's the real key. The thinking part of our brain kicks into gear. And the part of that story was within a year, that person had paid off all of their debts, all gone, because they were now able to see their problem in a way where they could think about it and see what they could do differently, rather than just have the stress response running their life. And so that's what we're going to do as well. We're going to release all that negative feeling and help you to feel like, hey, there might be some solutions, and have the power, the brain power, to find the solutions. So that tapping does that. It changes those feelings, it changes that stress response, and it allows the body to start thinking. You can't just tell yourself to change. So you look at this debt and go, well, come on, Kay, you got to get moving, you got to pay this debt off. But all that does is make you more stressed. It just beats you up and tells you how stupid you are, and that just makes you more stressed. Whereas let's tap and clear out all those old beliefs that I can't solve this, if I'm this far in debt, I've got no hope. Clear out the stories of like our family doesn't make money, or we're just spenders, not savers. Let's clear out all of those old stories and beliefs so that we can now put in the new story that says there is a way to pay this debt off. Let's have a look at it. So this is just a little diagram for anybody who doesn't know tapping. So we start on the karate chop point there on the hand, and we start by saying what the problem is. We identify the problem, we identify what the issue is. So in this case, all this debt, all this stress about debt. And then we're going to go through the different tapping points. So you see the first one's there next to the eyebrow. So between the eyebrow and the nose. The second one's beside the eye. So on the little bony bit of your beside your eye, and then again on the bony bit under your eye. So not on the soft bit, but on the bony bit. Under your nose, so just right between your nose and your lip there. On your chin, so on the crease bit of your chin. The collarbone spot is just down from the collarbone and in from the sternum a bit. And then under the arm along where your bra strap goes, and then on the very top of your head. So let's do a tapping. Is there some, I've got some words here from what everybody said. So is there anything else that people would like to tap on? And we'll just, as you go through, so think about your debt. So physically sick, physically struggling, how bad it is, and give that a number out of 10. So when you look at those numbers you wrote down before about how much in debt you are, let's number it out of 10. So 10 being, this is really bad, this is awful, like I'll never solve this problem, it's a disaster. And 1, of course, being, it's okay, she'll be right, mate. So give that a number, and we're going to tap now. So I'm going to turn my video on, and then for those who haven't seen tapping, you'll be able to watch me and we'll be able to tap. Okay, so we're going to start with this karate chop point here. And we're going to say, even though I've got all of this debt and I feel so awful, I just feel sick, I love and accept how I feel, because it's actually how we feel. Even though I don't think I'll ever be able to pay this off, I feel so bad. and I have no idea how I'm ever going to pay it off. It's okay, because I still love and accept how I feel. Even though this is so tough and I don't know what I'm going to do, and I can feel this tension in my stomach, I accept and love myself just as I am. Good. Now we're going to tap through the points. So this one, the eyebrow point, I feel sick beside the eye. This is so hard. Under the eye, I'm overwhelmed by my debt. On the nose, this is way too hard. On the chin, I am stressed to the max. And our collarbone, oh, there. This is terrible. And then on top of the head, I'm a disaster. And then we go through it again. This is awful. I feel so ashamed. I'm never going to solve this problem. It's a disaster. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I really don't know how to solve this. But I really want to. But I feel so ashamed. I can't talk to anybody about this. It's too shameful. I feel so guilty. I did it. I caused this problem. This is a disaster. How am I ever going to get wealthy if I can't even get from under this debt? It's affecting all of my life. I feel so stressed. It's a disaster. I've got no hope. It's all too bad. My bill's just bigger than my income. I spend everything I get. I have no idea what else I could do. It's terrible. And I feel so ashamed. And I feel so guilty. And I have no idea what else I can do. All right, have a little break. Deep breath, because that's stress. We're letting that stress out of the body. We're going to change that stress. So, did anybody feel a shift at all in that small tapping session we just did? Can you feel the difference? Just get my chat box so I can see it. Can you feel how, like, even though we don't change the money, obviously I'm not handing you money, but if you can relax about the debt and you can feel like you can be successful, then you can free yourself up to make more money. Because while you have that sort of millstone around your neck, you're going to feel like, I can't do this. How am I ever going to make money? And it's going to hold you back from actually making money. So that's terrific. You can feel a shift, Tash. That's great. So let's do another round. Is there any words or feelings that came up for anybody that that sort of, as they were tapping, they thought some other words than the ones I used? Because it's one of the values in tapping is using your own words. So I'm using things like guilt and shame and the heavy feeling, but see if you can use the words that you've got. Oh, good. Some more people feeling relaxed and stuff. Great. All right. Because we're tapping on the same issue, we don't need to go back to the hand. So we just go back to our eyebrow. I feel a little bit better, but I still feel pretty bad about this debt. I feel like I'm so stupid for getting into debt. How could I have allowed this to happen? Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know what to do different. I've always spent so much, always spent more than I earn. And I feel so guilty about it. I really want to earn lots of money in my business. And I can feel how the guilt and shame are holding me back. I want to let this go. This isn't helping me. I need to let it go. I'm so stressed. And this stress isn't helping me. I feel so guilty. I feel so ashamed. I know that you've got to work hard to make money. It's everybody says you've got to work hard, but you've got to work hard to make money. Maybe I just don't work hard enough. But I don't want to work that hard. But I do want to make that income. Maybe there's another way. Maybe I can find a way out of this. That means that I can work the right hours, do what I love, get out of debt, and make a fantastic income. I wonder if that's possible. Do you think it's possible? Everybody says you've got to work hard to make money. Everybody must be right, surely. But there are some people who don't. Sometimes money just comes. Could I allow money to come into my life? Could I change my beliefs and allow money to come? Am I allowed to have money? Is this possible? I don't think so. I'm so hopeless. I can't even manage my money. I'm not very good with money. My family just says I'm a spender. I'm not a saver. I just keep spending that money. But I'd like to get rid of this debt. I'd like to have savings. Maybe it's possible. And again, a nice big breath and let that stress out. So how does that feel? Can you feel that change again? And did you notice that we did some question and answer type stuff? So I'd like to be rich. No, it's not possible. I'd like to pay the debt off. No, you can't. So we're just trying out what our subconscious brain can think. Can it think that it's possible to pay it off? Can it think that there is some other solutions? There's some other thought patterns that could be happening. So how's that feeling? A much bigger shift that time. That's fantastic. So that's all we really need to do, believe it or not. If we keep tapping, tap on those thoughts, tap on whatever feels like it comes up for you. So whether it is the guilt and shame about being in debt, or whether it's the anger or frustration. Some of the debt might not be something that you've caused. Maybe you inherited it. And so there's a whole bunch of anger and frustration and not fairness. So tap on all of those feelings. And each time you do, as you're feeling already, it's exciting to see that people are saying they're feeling lighter each time. Because that's when the creativity and all of the wonders that are inside you are able to come forth. It's like taking off this negative, heavy weights off you and allowing you to be the person that you really are and have that creativity and that brain power to solve the problems. And just as we started with that quote from Albert Einstein, you cannot solve the problem with the same thinking that caused the problem. And so that mindset that says, this is the way it is, we have to do this, won't solve it. But if we tap away some of those negative beliefs about whether it's that we can't manage money or that, people like us don't make money, it's another good one. I come from the wrong side of the tracks, I'll never have money. Need to tap away all of those beliefs, all of those negative conditionings, all of the shame and the guilt and the anger and the frustration, and all of that will lighten you up and allow you to have the creativity and the space to be the creative, wonderful goddess that you are. And that's so exciting, isn't it? To just feel that magic that can happen when we let go of all of this stuff holding us down. So I'd really like this for you. So we'll go back to the stop sharing. There we go. Oh, that didn't work. What have I done, David? Go back to my slides.
Okay, you've just closed your slides. So if you go back to your downloads folder, open your slides back, and then.
All right, there we are. I'm back.
I'll turn your video off for you.
And you'll turn my video. Thank you. You should all have a David behind you so that you don't have to worry about the technology, because one of my beliefs is I'm not good at technology. So maybe I need to tap that away, or maybe I just need to keep David behind me. Thanks, Dave. So has there any questions? Has anybody got any questions? Oops. So I've lost my, hang on. So type away your questions there and I will find my chat box. Here we go. So that's great. I'm getting some chat here about how that feels lighter, how that feels, better, more relaxed. And you can see how with those feelings, how you're going to be able to solve your problems better. All right, so any questions about the tapping or money or any of those things? So how often should I do this? That's a really good question. Ideally daily. It's like any other practice. It takes time to practice it. And what you will find is you'll have shifts about this, but other issues will come up. So we're like little onions and we have to keep peeling off the little layers. So the stress and the frustration about debt will be the first layer, and we'll calm that down. And then there'll be the beliefs about, I really can't make money though. And then we tap that one down, and so on and so forth. And we just keep tapping them down, and you will find that your life slowly moves and shifts. And as you get those shifts, of course, new thoughts will come up. So even though you think, gee, I'm not getting anywhere, I've constantly got things to tap on, that's great. How long should you tap each time? Look, not long. It's not something that you spend an hour at. 10 minutes maybe, or till, depends on the issue. So if you've got something that has really stressed you today, so if you've had a fight with someone, tap until that stress has gone down. Or if you've got to do a webinar and you're nervous about it, tap until the stress goes down. But, as a daily practice, I would suggest 10, 15 minutes as a really good daily practice to get a habit to get into. So, yes, Serena, so every time we feel negative about a situation, yes, tap. Taps like, if you ever hear a Nick Ortner, he's one of the top gurus in the tapping, and he says that in his family it got to be a joke that every time someone had a problem they'd go, have you tapped on that yet? Have you tapped on that yet? So yeah, taps are fantastic way of dealing with each of the different issues. And you really say what you feel. So if you're annoyed at someone, angry at someone, you say what you're feeling. I've done some one-on-one tapping with Tash here, and she's saying if you tap with K one-on-one, she digs right into the underneath so you can tap for quite a while longer. And I bring up the deep stuff. So that is absolutely the reason we work with someone, is that it helps us to, you know, sometimes it's hard to see your own issues. Sometimes you just go round and round, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed. And it's really hard to figure out why you're stressed, what's behind it, what's going on. So I've got an absolute special for you today. It's called my Blockage Buster. So whether it's your debt or whether it's something else you're stressed with, I've got a 6 times 1 hour sessions. So in that time I'll dig deep and I'll get underneath and we'll find the whys. We'll find out what's going on. And I've got this at a super duper special at only $5.99. So my 1 hour sessions cost $120. So you can see that $5.99 is a brilliant price. And I want that price because I really want to help you clear the blockage, especially if you find that debt's one of the things that's holding you back. It's going to keep holding you back until you clear it, until you clear the beliefs, the feelings, the guilt, the shame, the anger, whatever feelings are going with that. Thanks, Tash. So I just got one of the clients that I've worked with for a while now is called Denise Litchfield, and she's calling me her secret weapon. And she's getting a bit annoyed about me using not annoyed, it's the wrong word, but yeah, she says, I'm not going to be a secret weapon if I keep telling everybody about it. But in the time that I've worked with the Denise, we have seen this person just bloom. I think this character was always there, but she was held down by so much. And now she's just blossoming, and her business has at least doubled or more and consistently making a much better income. So I'm Denise Litchfield's secret weapon. I actually like that. I like being called a secret weapon, but I'm not so secret anymore. So if you're interested, yeah, let me know on the Blockage Buster. It really is a fantastic way to go to clear those beliefs. So if anybody's got any more questions, yeah, I'm not really a secret. Denise puts it all over the internet all the time about her secret weapon and what we've cleared each day. So it's it's wonderful. All right, Lisa has to go, but bye. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'll look forward to talking to you some more soon. Any more questions? So Serena, we don't have to do to that question one that I did where we went back and like, can I do this? No, I can't. Can I do this? No, I can't. That's just one of there's many techniques that we learn as tapping practitioners. So we start with the negative, and we didn't talk about that today, did we? Often we start with the negative. People ask that question of like, we're so used to saying affirmations and, you know, I'm going to be a millionaire next year, or I'm a millionaire, I've got money coming, money flows, all of those things that we say. The problem with that, and I'm sure most of you have experienced it, where you say, I'm a millionaire, and you go, no, I'm not. Money flows to me. No, it's not. I'm really good at paying off my debt. No, I'm not. And while we've got that, no, I'm not, that's the subconscious brain. That's 90% of our brain is not on board. And so that's where we need the tapping to change that around. And I use an analogy of a beautiful flower bed, and it's full of weeds. So it's full of I can't do this, I'm hopeless, I'm no good, this is a disaster, I'll never be able to achieve it. And they're the weeds in our garden. And it doesn't matter how many pretty flowers you buy and you plant in that garden, it will still look like a weedy garden. But if we come along and take out the weeds, we weed the garden and then put in our pretty flowers, then it looks like a beautiful flower bed. And I just think that that's why we talk the negative in the tapping. It's so important to pull out those weeds. And so by tapping as we say the words, we're speaking out loud saying the things that are wrong, saying what we're really feeling. Because this is what we feel. That's why the tapping one-on-one with a person is so much more powerful, because they use your words, your exact circumstances and your exact words. And so you can tap out your weeds out of your garden. I'm so pleased, Lisa, that you've enjoyed that and you've been able to, yes, gives you something to work on. So tapping's a fantastic practice that you can do on your own. You can't mess it up. But working one-on-one with a person, of course, as I was just saying, you can dig into those thoughts and feelings that are hiding from you. But yeah, practice on your own, go for it. Bring that relaxation, bring the stress down and the relaxation up. So any more questions, anybody? Otherwise, we might finish a few minutes early. And I hope I'm glad you've all enjoyed that. I've got lots of people saying here that they've really enjoyed it, and how much less stress they feel. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We're going to find the dollars to pay the person to help us find the dollars. Interesting. As I said, when I've worked with people, with clients, it's amazing how quickly their income has increased. There's another couple of other clients that I've worked with that you see them now on the internet, you'll see them in the groups and they're just flying. And I look at them and think, it was only a few months ago we were tapping on, I'll never succeed in this business, I can't do it, I'll never make the money. And now they're absolutely flying, and they're some of the people that you think, oh, gee, look how successful they are. So tap away all of those stresses, look after yourselves and enjoy your tapping experience, and email me any questions you've got, and I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Thanks. Bye.